This is a walkthrough about making a word cloud from your family tree. A word cloud is a visual representation of a body of text where the size of each word in the cloud is proportional to how frequent the word appears in that text. For a family tree, the body of text, or all the persons in the tree, they're probably listed as first name, last name, but we throw away the first name and we have all the last names that appear in the tree once 50 times. In this case, and this is my maternal family tree, a name like Young is far more plentiful in my family tree than a name like Keen. This gives an interesting way of looking at things. In this companion article, which I link to in the description below, I'll put down ways of using a word cloud made from your family tree to do some analysis on things that are more difficult to see when you're looking at the family tree in Ancestry or MyHeritage. So one of the things I spotted when I was looking at the less common names is down here you see there's a McKee. Well, there's also a McKee appearing here and here. But actually, those are variants of the same name. You notice that the K here is a small k, and then there's a space between Mac and Key. That may well be how it appears in the source documentation, or else I inputted them with an erroneous space, or I entered in McKee with a lowercase k name when it shouldn't have. But it means I can go back to my tree in Ancestry, take a look and find where I've introduced a misspelling. I'll correct that. But it's a way of spotting that kind of stuff. The other thing to look at is that you may be thinking that the name of O'Gorman is my direct ancestor because it is the most plentiful name in that tree along with the name of Young. But actually no. When I went back and had a look at my tree, my great-great-great-grandmother had two of her sisters married two different men by the name of O'Gorman. But they were not brothers, they were not first cousins. I haven't established their relationship. But it just meant that you had two O'Gormans as siblings. Each of the ladies were fertile and had plenty of children, and each of those children had plenty more children, which is why it almost appears too much in my family tree. What jumps out at me is that whereas the name of Gamble and Smith are in my direct line, so I'm not surprised to see them well represented, I'm also seeing Fitzpatrick here as being rather small, but Fitzpatrick is in my direct line. And it reminds me that I should go back and research that name Fitzpatrick. I'm pretty certain I'm missing a number of people in that branch. So as I work through looking at names and thinking, I'm a little bit surprised that that name Kiernan is a lot smaller than the name McAvoy. At this point I can start thinking of, well, I need to go back and research this, I need to go back and research that. So it's just another way of doing a visual analysis. It has its drawbacks, it has its advantages. Read the article to get a bit more of an insight as to what to look for. But this tutorial is a step-by-step on how to achieve this. As a prerequisite, you'll need a spreadsheet of all the family names in your tree. The spreadsheet will look something like this. We've got first name, last name, birth date, birth location, death date, death location, a few other details. The important thing is that the last name is in the second column. That's how this tutorial is just going to expect that. How do you get this spreadsheet from your family tree? If you've got your family tree in Ancestry or Family Search or MyHeritage, you can't just export it to a list or spreadsheet like this, but you can export it to a GEDCOM file. And with a GEDCOM file, you can convert the file into a spreadsheet that looks exactly like this, and I go to how to do that in a previous tutorial which I'll link in the description below. So I'm picking up here from the end of the previous tutorial. So now you have your spreadsheet downloaded to your local machine. The next thing to do is to log back in to the Google website that lets us run a Python script. So I'm going to this Google site. You'll find the details in the companion article. So this is the Google Collab. Because I'm already logged into Google using the Chrome browser, it lets me in straight away. Now that I'm logged in and it's pulled me up this window with some previous notebooks that I've created, I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to create a new notebook. You can think of a notebook as a project area. And here it's already asking us to input some code, but the first thing I need to do is I need to upload the spreadsheet to this particular notebook area so the code can access it. Files and folders are over here to the left. Just expand this folder icon. Give it a little bit of time. And you'll see that every notebook has this sample_data folder where there's some sample data, unsurprisingly. And I'm going to upload that spreadsheet that I had prepared previously into this area. So I'm going to click the three dots here, the ellipsis, and that gives me the option to upload. Then I just need to find that file I was working with. Here it is here. And click open. Then I click OK, and I can see that that file has appeared in the sample data folder. The next thing I'm going to do, and what you'll be doing, is you're going to grab the script that I make available and you're just going to change a couple of lines. So go to the article, get down to step 3 where it says grab a copy of the Python script. You don't have to provide an email or log in to get this particular script. You just download it, copy it, download it by clicking on that link. Once you've done that, you'll have a script that looks like this. And this is designed simply to copy and paste the entire script into the input cell of your notebook. So Control A to copy the entire lines here, Control C, toggle back to the notebook, and I will Control V to paste it into this code cell. Okay, so before we run this, we need to change a couple of lines. One line is mandatory, and that is this line here, and that is where you give it the name of your family tree that you just uploaded. I've set the file path. Don't change this part because that is the path to that particular area. Don't worry that it looks like the slashes are going the wrong way. That's just how it is with this particular environment. The key is that you're going to be changing, but I'm pretty sure your file isn't called Gamble Smith Family Tree. So just change this to whatever you see here. Okay. The next part I'll come back to, it is an optional change. It's this line here where we might increase the 0 here to a 1 or a 2. Just leave it as is. I'm not going to make any other change. So we've only made one change. We've changed this particular line by making sure that it can pick up your particular file. And then we hit run. So at this point, this is what we want to see down here, that the script completed. It took 4 seconds. There's a green tick mark. If there'd been a problem, there would be a red X. With Google Collab, there isn't a trumpet and a ticker tape parade. When the script finishes, you just look for this line down the bottom. Depending on the size of your family tree, if yours is a lot bigger than mine, yours could take maybe 10 seconds. Now look over to the left. I don't know if you saw what just happened. Another file arrived into this folder. It's there above the file that I uploaded. It's a file of the same name, but the extension is a .jpeg. The other thing that I do in the script is that I do output to screen so that you can see what you've got, the word cloud. Now it outputs on this tiny little window, which means everything is really a little difficult to see. So don't worry too much about that. So now I'm going to download my JPEG file. So I'm hovering over this JPEG. I'm going to click the little 3 dots here, the ellipsis. I'm going to click download. That comes down into my downloads folder here. Click on show in folder. Going to just double click it to open it. And here is my word cloud. You notice it's a bit of a rectangular shape. That was by choice. If you want more of a square, I'll just toggle back to the script. These are the dimensions. So I'm setting it to a wider width of 1600 and then the height is half of that. If you want to square, you could set it to 800 times 800 or a bigger square, 1600 times 1600. You can experiment a little bit with that as you so choose. The other thing that I will say is that this is quite a busy word cloud, and the reason is that in my family tree and probably in yours, you may have lots of names where they only appear as a single occurrence in the tree. That particularly happens with the spouses of your blood relatives, and that means that the husband or wife of your blood relative, that surname may appear just once, and therefore you may have a lot of last names in your family tree where there is only one person of that name. This is why I put an extra section that I highlighted where you may choose to skip low frequency names. For example, if you wanted to only include names where there was more than one occurrence, so at least two, I changed the minimum count here to 1. And making that change, I'd simply run the script again. It will overwrite the file that's there. That's completed. This time it was 2 seconds, a little bit faster, but it had less work to do. I am going to download this file. Now when I download this one, because it's already in my downloads folder, it is going to change its name to _1 or something. Let me just show in folder. Yeah, so this is the downloaded copy. And because it had the same name, it puts in this brackets of 1, but that's kind of handy. I will just open that. And as you can see, this is a little bit less busy as a number of names have dropped. And depending on how big your family tree is, you may choose to up that minimum count to perhaps 2 or 3. It just depends on what is readable for you so that you can just browse over the names and get a feel for the relative size and frequency of names in your family tree. So that's this tutorial focusing on that Python script which I provide as a free download. In the article, I go to an alternative way. If you just do not want to use Python, I do go to another way of generating your word cloud without using Python, with using a free online tool. If I go back to the article, go up to the table of contents, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about method 1 to generate the word cloud is to use my Python script. Method 2 is this online word clouds generator. There's a few out there. I like this one. You didn't need to create an account. You just need an input file. I give some explanation as how to prepare that input file. And then I just walk through what to click and what to set. And it will produce a decent word cloud. The one thing I couldn't find in this tool or some others is how to set the minimum number of occurrences of names. In that event, we do offer a method 3, which is a done for you service. I offer a service where you upload your GEDCOM file to us and we generate a whole set of spreadsheets for you. Here's a quick demo of what you get as either a Excel spreadsheet or as a Google sheet. We provide the full list of people in your tree. This is a breakdown of the name frequency with the actual numbers. Here's a word cloud. This is all people in the tree. We also provide a version of the word cloud where it only includes names with at least 2 occurrences in the tree that avoids those single occurrence names. We also provide the pedigree breakdown. 2 parents, 4 grandparents, and going up each generation. And that pedigree list allows us to generate 3 different family tree sheets. Here's the 5 generation family tree. This prints on a single landscape page. Very useful for bringing to the library or some archive building. Here's the 6th generation pedigree tree. This also fits on a single landscape page. And then the 7th generation generated tree, of which this particular tree, there's quite a lot of gaps, missing a lot of dates here. But this is formatted to print on 2 landscape pages and you can tape them together top and bottom. There's a link in the companion article that will take you to the details of how to make an order and what to provide in order to receive this full set of spreadsheets. Hope that helps and best of luck with your family research.